Parashat Acharei Mot-Kedoshim. According to the order of the parashiot of the Torah on Shabbat, we read those two enormous parashiot, we read them together. And there's an amazing parashiot, really amazing. And of course we are not allowed to give, and we should not give titles to the this is a great parasha, that's like a mediocre parasha, and so on and so forth. But it really, those two parashiot carry a tremendous emotional weight. Of course, after the first parasha Acharei Mot, after the death of Aaron's kids and so on, that the first part of it deals with the Avodat Yom Kippurim, right? And Parashat Kedoshim, which tells us Kedoshim to you. Kadosh means holy. You should be holy. According to Chazal, that parasha is called, and I'm quoting, Parasha sheba klulim kol gufei haTorah. All aspects of Torah are included within this parasha. It has 53 mitzvot, and in the second part of every one of those parashiot, there is, of course, Parashat Arayot, right? Arayot is sexual matters, and it's basically arranging the, call it, sexual reality, which which applies to all of us, whether it's psychological, whether it's existential, for our personality as well, and gives us what are the boundaries and what's allowed and what's not allowed. That the meaning is not just like, this is allowed because we decided that this is not, but rather obeying to those laws and understanding that include within themselves what we call Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, accepting God's kingship in the world, which he says, and we see it because it says Ani Hashem Elokechem, or Ani Hashem, which comes into this parasha. It comes about somewhere like 20 something times in those two parashiot. So when you say Ani Hashem Elokechem or Ani Hashem, I said it because Ani Hashem, that means that when you violate that, you're violating your acceptance as God, as your king, as your God. And you need to look very, very careful at what it means and your action, what does it mean? Now, it's very discouraging, I will tell you the truth, to really look at this two parashiot and try to put it within the framework in which we're working. Because this is something that if you take this parashiot and appropriately dissect them, it's something that is worth it, like maybe a doctorate. So to try to put it like this, it's very hard. But we'll try to make an effort to give you some kind of something you can take home with you. So how do we deal with this? So I'm going to tell you one thing. Let's instead of looking at all these ideas and all these concepts, these two parashiot, instead of doing that, what we could do is look at one word. Only one word. And the key factor, or the key word in this parashiot, I would say, what really is the apparatus behind those parashiot is the concept of kedusha, holiness. Holiness. So the second parasha starts with the tremendous pasuk. It says, which is really, it's a hard statement to live by. Kedoshim tiyu, ki kadosh ani, because I am holy, I'm your God. You should be holy because I'm your God and I'm holy, you should be holy. My goodness, what does it mean? How do I go about it? If we just think about it, I don't know, sometimes I think about it, it makes me freeze. I'm afraid to move. What does it mean? And in this parasha, the whole issue of Kedusha, or holiness, or the sanctification of Am Yisrael, comes about many, many times, over and over and over again. It says, "V'tkadashtem v'ayitem kedoshim," which we learn Netilat Yadayim. Always sanctify yourself. So even our way, the way we eat, we do Netilat Yadayim. We spoke about it. We've been speaking about it in the morning many times. But it's more than just cleanness of learning to eat with your clean hands. It's more about this and more about it. There's something very fundamental for the reason why we do Netilat Yadayim, because we need to be different, and we are required to have a level of kedusha, of sanctification. Bless you. And it says, "Ushmartem et kol chukotai v'asitem otam," and you should keep all my laws, and you should actually do them. Why? Ki ani Hashem mekadoshchem. I am God who sanctify you. V'ayitem l'kedoshim ki kadosh ani. Because I am God, therefore, as we say, and so on and on and on and on and on. Now, these are very noble commandments and very noble ideas, but together with that, those verses, those expressions are very dangerous when it comes down to practical emunah, practical faith. It's very dangerous because quite mistakenly you could distort it. And sometimes even, I would even dare to say, somewhat deliberate. Somewhat deliberate. I'll give you an example. We know, we learned this in Rosh Hashanah, we learned in Yom Kippur, we learned the concept of Teshuvah. And where are we going to go? We're going to go to the Halakha. Where are we going to go? We're going to go to the Rambam that says, there are steps of Teshuvah. There is Vidui, there's Charata, there's Azivat Achet, and so on and so forth. Blah, blah, the whole entire thing. The 6 stages of Teshuvah based on the Rambam. Now, somebody might come and tell you, no, we don't need that. It's enough to say, when you stand in your shower, taking a shower, you think about something, oh, I just ran on an old lady. That was bad. I should not have done this. And that will be okay. That's not okay. That's not Judaism. I don't care who says that. I don't care where is it written. All I care about, this is not what we paskin fi halacha. This is not what we paskin according to the Rambam. And then we get lost with that, because today is different. Now pay close attention. Pay close attention. There are, when I say that it's done almost deliberately, you might mistake it, and what I tell you now might really irk some of you. You might be mistaken that it is something inherently holy in Am Yisrael from his birth. Am Yisrael does not have to do anything. We are holy. Of course, that's not the case, because there's a commandment to Shim Tihiyu. You should become holy, right? And this assumption really, just like we spoke about the tshuva, this assumption frees the person from taking responsibility from his actions. And that's very bad, and it gives you some kind of a sense of false security for things that it's really completely, that a person that has emunah completely should not have. Why? Because there are certain things that need a purpose, and they need an action, and they need a certain program to follow, and certain steps to follow. And if you just take the assumption that I'm holy just because I am, you're not going to take it, you're going to violate, you're not going to come to do so, and who knows what's going to happen. I'll expand this a little bit more. Now, taking the concept of Kedusha, taking the concept of holiness, and twisting it from a job or duty that Am Yisrael needs to strive. That duty was given to you. You are obligated to do so, and you need to execute it. To bring it to something that you inherently born like that without doing anything, I might even dare to tell you that there's something pagan about it. Now goes the same thing regarding lineage. For example, let's say Yosef, right? Yosef. We don't say which Yosef, even though he starts with no, never mind. He worked very hard on himself. He worked super hard on himself. Now he really reached a certain level of Kedusha. Now Baruch Hashem, he's still young, hold your horses. He got married, he has a kid. His kid is not holy just because he's his father. This kind of Kedusha only comes through HaKadosh Baruch Hu that generates that, and that Kedusha comes because you seek closeness to God. Not because your father was holy, you automatically holy. This is not North Korea, that you become, by the way, what the North Koreans did, they almost took a concept of almost Christianity, and they made their leaders into that. What North Korea has done is basically adopt Christian doctrine, and they apply it to the leaders.
One family.
That's right. And the North Korean leader is considered to be like a god. He can read people's mind, he can heal people, he can kill people, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's crazy the amount of brainwash they're doing so. And by the way, just to let you know, for no topic, you know how North Korea does it to the people? Well, many reasons, many different ways, very interesting way, but the most important way is they made the people give up all property that they had, and from that point on, they made them starve. So hungry people don't want to rebel. Hungry people want to eat. Be very careful before you ask to give away your property. And don't be so eager to give away your property. I don't care if it's a car for crash or whatever it is. Don't give your property. So now, and that's something, by the way, that Chazal already knew when they established the order of those parashiyot, and the correlation between the parashiyot and the haftarot that come along with that. And sometimes it's, those parashiyot can also, those haftarot can give a wrong interpretation to the parasha, but let's look at this haftarot that we have. There's 3 haftarot that are attached to this parashiyot. Each one of them is read separately. Acharei is read separately sometimes, and Kedoshim read separately on its time. And if they are together, there's also a different case. However, there is a difference between Sfaradim and Ashkenazim regarding what they read. But what is equal in all these 3 parashiyot is that the words of the statements that are said there by the Navi are one of maybe the worst, most harsh thing that the prophet said about, in this prophecy to the people. The Haftarah of Acharei that according to the Ashkenazim also wrote in the Shabbat that Acharei and Kedoshim comes together, is the Haftarah that is kind of parallel with Kedoshim Tiyu, Ki Kadosh Ani Hashem Lokechem, and so on and so forth, which are the words of the prophet Amos. It says, Halo kebnei kushim atem li, bnei Yisrael neum Hashem. You are like, black people to me. Whatever that means, without getting into racial, let's not get bent out of shape here. This is the prophet says, you want something, go with them. However, Amos, like all the prophets, and especially as it says, like the Torah itself, really emphasizes the fact that in Yetziat Mitzrayim, when we came out of Egypt, HaKadosh Baruch Hu separated Am Yisrael from the nations of the world. So technically speaking, joining the United Nations is a mistake by the state of Israel. Because you separate. Why do you want to be like everybody else? They're going to tell you what to do. By the way, I really like the words of one particular governor who went to visit Israel. He was going to Asia. We don't mention him because we're not political. However, they asked him about the judicial, reorganization that is happening in Israel. What do you think about it? And blah, 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 this whole entire thing. He said, listen, this is a democracy. They have a right to do whatever they want, and I have no right to say anything about it. Right on. I guess you get a lot of vitamin D so you can think straight. So, but the pasuk, right? But the pasuk that was included in Kriyat Shema, right? Ani Hashem Elokechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim. It really is something that you got to pay close attention to. What does the rest of the pasuk say? Ani Hashem Elokechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liyot lachem le'elokim. The only reason for me to take you out of Egypt was not that you can come and make up songs. Let my people go. It's not to give you this, not to give you that. The only reason for me to take you out of Egypt that I should be your God. Otherwise, what's the point? Just stay there. Now, pay close attention to what we are saying here, because, again, most people don't want to hear that. You're talking about freedom, right? There's a purpose for something. Now, if you are accepting my Godship on you, right, that's good. So therefore you're separated. And if not, there's nothing special about you. If you don't accept as a Jew, if you don't accept God as your God, that God is your king, as your master, as your Lord, there's nothing special about you. Don't come crying to me. And which we seem to be doing a lot. By the way, I'm going to tell you something, guys, which is something that is very important. Do you want to really achieve something good in life? Yeah, you do. Do you really want to live a better life? Stop whining. Stop complaining. Stop whining. And the problem is, Am Yisrael always whines to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like it. So what's the matter? You don't trust me? I took care of your time. You saw what I did. The whole reason why you came out is because of that. So therefore, and I'll tell you why it's important not to whine, and why it's important to accept God as your king. Besides the fact that so He told us to do. And it says, so therefore comes the prophet Amos, and he even pushes that uniqueness, that special thing out. Which in a way is not such a big chidush, right? Because after comparing the Jews, right, to the inhabitants of Africa, he adds, Halo et Israel העליתי ממצרים, ופלישתים מכפתור וארם מקיר. I took the Jews from Egypt. I caused the Philistine to come from Crete. Philistine, not Palestinians. Yeah, big difference. I brought them here. I brought Aram to go there. I'm the one who's moving them. What do you get out of this? You get out of this something very interesting. What comes out is that all the nations, their destiny in history, their fate in history is already determined by the master of history, by the determiner of history, which is God. What makes Am Yisrael special is what he was ordered to do. What Am Yisrael was required to do. That's what's special about Am Yisrael. Not what happened to Am Yisrael. What happened to you by itself has no value. One of the reasons that people had a whole thing about, some religious aspect had a claim about, the correlation between the Holocaust and the state of Israel is because of that. We need to concentrate on not what happened to us. In other words, we have to stop whining. We need to roll our sleeves, ask what we need to do, what needs to be done, and just do it. That's why you were special. Everything else is already determined. If China is going to rise to power, if Russia is going to rise to power, if this one is going to go off the throne of glory, and so on and so forth, that has nothing to do with you as a nation. As long as you do what I told you to do, you'll be protected. Because you're doing what I asked you to do. And that's why comes the prophet Amos and tell us those most horrific things that today we could see it also. There are some people who believe that Am Israel is special by itself because it's the nation of Israel, not because of the special mission that was given to him. Am Israel is special because HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us to execute a certain thing, to bring light to the world, to bring harmony to the world. That's what we are special. You are not special because you were born. That's why your mother tells you, oh, you're so special. No, you're special because what you were given to do, and depends on your level of effort to get the mission done. And pay attention, I'm saying the level of effort. Now you think about it very carefully, about all aspects of life that you engage with, about how do you live your life, how do you get up in the morning, why do you do what you do, how do you do? Do you live? That's why it's important to live according to the laws of Torah. That's why it's important to learn halacha. That's why it's important to execute all the things that we always say, and not looking for a shortcut. Looking for a shortcut in Avodat Hashem, that means not doing the mission, not getting the mission done. And that's horrific. If you, for example, know anything, for example, about knives. Let's say you're forging knives. If you take shortcuts in the process of forging, one way or another the blemish is going to come out. Either going to be a microfracture, either it's going to be a delamination, it's going to break. It's going to come out. In Avodat Hashem, in mitzvot, in halacha, do not look for a shortcut, because then it will all crumble down on you. That's why when it comes to chinuch habanim, to educate your children, one should not take shortcuts to educate his kids. When it comes to educating yourself, there shouldn't be a shortcut. Oh, Rabbi, I need a break from learning. Maybe you need a break from life. You know what happened if you forge a steel, right? And then just, okay, you know what, forget it, let me take a break now. You're going to ruin it. It's ruined.
Don't mix concrete.
Oh, hey, here we go. Don't mix concrete. What do you do? When you stop pouring, you pour all the way to the end. If not, it will crack, it will break. It's not going to happen. We have those lessons all around us. When we need to willing to accept that we have all the answers to all the questions, we just don't want to do it. If you take shortcuts in building construction, right, instead of putting a certain profile of I-beam, you're going to put a smaller profile. It's the same thing. It's steel, it's strong. What's going to happen? It's going to collapse. That's why we have codes, right? That's why you have an engineer. That's why you have an inspector. Well, we have the same thing. Our code is the Torah, the Shulchan Aruch. Why are you looking for shortcuts? So we need to understand that. So therefore it says, Hine Einei Hashem Elokechem b'mamlacha chata'ah. The prophet tells us, the eyes of God is in the sinner kingdom that you have. Veheshmadeti ota me'al pnei adama, and I will destroy it off the face of the earth. Efes ki lo ishmid Ashmid et Bet Yaakov Neum Hashem. I will destroy that. Bet Yaakov is established, is still going on. Am Israel is still going on, as because the job they need to do. But you have no promise. We have no promise that if you don't get the job done, or you not you get the job done, if you don't want to do the work, you will. If you're going to, because you have a special job to do, I'm going to be patient with you. But don't think you're going to get a land, you're going to get a house, if you don't want to do what I told you to do. This is just providing you. I'm providing you. It will be the same thing if you are like my salesman, right? And I tell you, a salesman gets a car, right? However, I expect you to come with a quota of minimum what I need you, what I expect you of doing. I mean, otherwise, I'm paying you a drawer, I'm giving you a car. I mean, what do you get me in return? And you take your car and you just drive around and you go, as a Habibi, bring it back, bring me the car back, and by the way, get out of here. I'm not interested in having you to work anymore. That's exactly what happened to us. Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, is not guaranteed to us because we have an army and because we have an air force and because America sells us airplanes, or we have plutonium, or we have uranium, or we have dandruff. Eretz Israel is ours for us to do the mitzvot in the land, not to have a gay parade in Tel Aviv or Yerushalayim. Eretz Israel is guaranteed to us when we act and behave like the chosen people, like people that have Torah in them, not like a bunch of chuliganim. When you have 30, 40,000 people going to watch a soccer game and shuls are empty. You want to watch a soccer game? That's terrific, good for you. But not for a Jew. It's good for a non-Jew. Go watch it. We have a job to do. If you said, well, come on, Rabbi, don't be radical. I'm not being radical. Let's say, for example, you are a boss and you work, and I'm working for you, right? And I'm on the clock. You pay me. And you come into the office and you see me going like this, drinking my coffee, watching the game. Oh, wow, yeah. What are you going to tell me? Okay, one time. Okay, guys, come on, what's going on? But every day I come, you're watching a game? If I was the boss, I would take the TV, throw it out, and throw you out right after it. You need time to chill out? Don't worry, in the grave, it's cold. You have Shabbat. You have Shabbat. Oh, it's my day off. Shabbat is not a day off. Shabbat is not a day off. I have work to do. And believe me, I have the best boss in the world. I know that I'm not going to get fired because I'm doing the job. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not say you got to do everything. It's impossible. No one can learn the whole entire Torah, but you have to learn. And when you learn, do it because you want to do it, not because you're afraid of hell. Because you want to do it, because you understand the importance of learning. In other words, the problem that we have is an attitude problem. It's a huge attitude problem. And we need to change that. And it says, if you look at the other haftarot, which are also chapters in Yecheskel, it's also, again, one of the most difficult rebuking in the Tanakh. Hoda et Yerushalayim et to'avatea. Let Jerusalem know her disgrace. Ir shofechet dam betocha. A city that spills blood. Nesiei Israel, ish lezaro hayu bach. Av v'hem ekelu bach. Leger ashku be'oshek betocha. Yatom v'almana honu. In other words, there were crooked people. There were people immersed in sexual filth, people that were immersed with dishonesty, stealing, robbing, embezzlement.
Sounds like today.
You better believe that. And that is right away, that goes to the pasuk of the parasha of Ani Hashem Elokechem. I'm sanctify you because I'm God. So those harsh words of Yechezkel are also said upon us. If you go to the Israeli newspapers and you open them, you see that nothing has changed. You know how many people are just being killed in Israel for crime now? It's crazy. Rape, murder, drugs. It's unbelievable. I remember as a kid when we heard that somebody was killed, it was like, oh my goodness, somebody got killed. Today it's like people get killed left and right. Nobody pays attention. Nobody pays attention.
You want Jew?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Rape of children, human trafficking. What's going on, man? And you're going to come and tell me? And by the way, needless to say about wrongdoing of leaders, both from the left and the right. And you're going to come and tell me that we are, by our own nature, a holy nation? The Gemara says, when Am Yisrael takes upon itself all Malchut Shamayim, it becomes the worst, becomes the bottom of the pit, the worst criminals. Because it says, וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, דבר אל כל עדת בני ישראל ואמרת להם, קדושים תהיו לי כי קדוש אני אלוקיכם. You are holy only because I am holy and because what אני מקדש אתכם, I sanctify you. And how do I sanctify you? I allow you to do Torah and mitzvot. You not do that, there's no difference between you and you know whatever in China. You're the same thing as far as I'm concerned. So Rabbi Yitzchak Arama, of course, Baal Sefer HaAkedah, gives us a tremendous advice at the beginning of the Parashat Kedoshim. He says the following, and according, Davar kadosh hu le'agia adam el shlemuto hamechuvan. It's a great thing, it's a holy thing for a person to reach his wholeness, his internal harmony, dedicated harmony that he's looking for. Shetiyeh hashkafato be'ofnei chayuto, that whatever his outlook, the way he live his life, is going to be directed elatov shebeshorshe mitziuto, always direct to, and aim yourself towards is good, not to what is bad. In other words, a person, a human, is a creature that has both material and spiritual together, both combined together. And in order to reach your perfection, you need to look at your shoresh ruchani. You need to make sure you are nourishing your spirit and not indulging on the physical, because you're going to fall and you're going to fail. In other words, when you want a vacation for work, come to Bet Midrash and learn. Don't go to Aruba. Go to Dubai. Or whatever it is that people go to. This is the Ir Miklat. This is the city of refuge. Because what are you going to do when you're going to go to this vacation? Of course, you're going to go to the pool. You're going to look at all this Adam and Eve all walking over there, maybe even Adam and Steve, right? All you're going to do is eat, drink, and other physical activities. So therefore, you're enhancing your physical part. It's like this, right? It's like physics, right? Now, you need to reach a certain equilibrium with a little bit more on the spiritual. But what happens when you increase the spiritual, the physical, right? You put a lot of pressure on the physical, pressure, more. This doesn't stay in one place. This simply goes out until you become completely physical, no spiritual. So in other words, reduce your physical or materialistic pressure that you create for yourself. Reduce that. Increase the spiritual pressure in you to seek more spirituality. If you're on a vacation and you really consider yourself to be a dedicated Jew, terrific. Come to shul, don't rush out. Daven, don't even come to your shul. Go to the shul that daven slow. Daven Shmonayser for 1 week, daven Shmonayser like a king. Sit down, be mekayem halacha b'shulchan aruch. After tefillah, sit down, learn a little bit halachot, learn daf yomi, learn Tanakh, learn Mishnah, learn Kabbalah, learn I don't know what. Sing Lechadodi on Tuesday. I don't care what it is. Go home, eat, read something. I mean, get your spirit something. But we don't do that. And then you wonder why your kid end up to be a pirate. Or drug dealer. Or druggie. You didn't give the kid a chance. You did not give the kid a chance. So, and he says the following, Rav Baal HaKedah says the following, ההתחלות והשורשים הטובים יחייבו אנשים לפעול פעולות טובות. Right? By touching the spiritual roots and becoming aware of that, that kind of encourage you to do the right thing. He says, "Homnam haraot yechayvu mol habchitot." If you're going to go into bad quality, it's going to lower you, but then you're going to start making excuses. It's not me, it's the Yetzer Hara, right? It's not me, it's his fire is this. And then what happens? Nothing happens. You're getting worse and worse and worse. So, but when a person starts to look at the root of bad inside of him, in other words, what's the root of bad inside of him? Chomer, right? His materialistic need, his obsession with physical pleasure. Sex, drug, and rock and roll, whatever it is, or sex, drugs, and Aruba, or whatever you want to call this, So that will cause us, it's a cause of the fact, that will cause us to do bad things. That's a no-brainer. And by doing so, that's going to be an excuse for you to continue doing that. You're going to continue doing this. As we said, "Makom she'adam rotze leilech, molichim oto." You determine your fate. You want to go here? You're going to act like this? You're going to go there. So if you're going to be more physical, you're going to go there. If you're going to be more spiritual, you're going to go there. And which is very interesting what Baal HaKedah is saying, because he quotes Aristotle in his words in his book of ethics, and he says, "V'zeh hamusar hechzik bo hachoker." The scholar held on to it, וכתבו בפרק י"א ממאמר העשירי, and he wrote it in chapter 11 from the 10th statement, וזה לשונו. And here Baal HaKedah quotes Aristotle, and it says that ha'adam hu ben mavet. In other words, a man is going to die in his time. However, everybody's going to die. However, he needs to act like he's never going to die. And after this quote, Rav Yitzchak Arama says, "Re'eh kama arevim divrei hachacham." How wise how sweet those words of the sage. Asher bahem limed da'at ve'irat Hashem. This is how you learn Yirat Hashem. So you see, it depends what you read, and he's right, but it depends also how you read it and what you do with what you read. And he says, "Kshistakel ha'adam tamid el shoroshav ha'yekarim." When a person is going to look really at most sacred possession in terms of his good neshama, ve'ya'atzim enav midivrei hametim, and close your eyes from the words of the dead. What does it mean? Those people who are obsessed with the material aspects in life are not considered to be alive. They're considered to be dead. ומאחליט על עצמו כי בן מוות לפי טבעו, אשר הם דברים המפילים עליו חבלי שינה. Since you're going to say, okay, I'm going to die, he says, that's going to make you fall asleep. That's going to make you negligent. That's going to make you lazy and weak. I'm going to die. So what's the purpose of that? There's no purpose. There's no purpose of me working hard. There's no purpose of me, doing spiritual things and learning and toiling. I'm going to die, so you know what? That's why they used to say in Pompeii, eat and drink because tomorrow will die. And let me tell you, you probably better know than me. You know what happened in Pompeii when the mountain was blowing. The guys were still going to harlots. Who cares? I'm going to die anyway. Might as well die well. So laziness is horrible for you. That's why the Shulchan Aruch says it, Gaber Ka'ari la'avodat haboreh. You have to be like a lion. Get up in the morning, roaring like a tiger. Like a three-burner forge. Not like a lazy lamb. That's a problem. And then you're going to make an excuse. Oh, Rabbi, I need more hours of sleep. I can't do it. I'm so weak. Are you not weak? Because if I'm going to give you Dvar Avera to do, you're going to be jumping up and down like David Goggins. But for Dvar Mitzvah, you're weak. And you know why is that? Because you're indulging yourself and you keep on feeding that fire of desire inside of you for the wrong things. And there's a tremendous musar that he tells us here. In other words, we have the ability to be kadosh, we have the ability to be tameh. But, so therefore, if a person is going to neglect of actively pursuing the level of holiness, it's called negligence, and that's called deterioration. It's like anything else. Let's say you have a leaky gutter in your house. Oh, the gutter actually not leaky. The gutter is not sitting right. What problem is going to cause from this? Come on, Rabbi, it's a house. Then what problem? It's nothing, just a gutter. Don't worry about it. Well, the water might seep into your foundation. It's not taking it away from the house. It's going to ruin those soffits that you have over there in the house. Mold, roof, right? A million different things, right? You're negligent about it. Take care of it when it needs to. Take care of things when you need to. So he says, the Baal HaKedah continues and it says, the pasuk that opens Parashat Kedoshim, when it says, Kedoshim tiyu kekadosh ani Hashem lokechem, it's what's the statement, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us in Sefer Vayikra, Perek Yutet, pasuk bet, קדושים תהיו כקדוש אני, יצא ירצה, לא תתרשלו במנהג הטהרה והנקיות. Don't be lazy, don't be negligent in making yourself pure, in putting the appropriate boundaries in terms of nekiyut, being clean. Don't tell me, Rabbi, come on, that's too much. You know, I like my wife, I want her to wear a bikini. All these things, you have to be very careful to what is minhagei tahara. Don't cut corners when it comes to netilat yadayim. Don't come corners when it comes to be clean, but clean, spiritually clean. He says, and then you're going to claim that it's because you're human and you're not so great like this one rabbi, that rabbi, that's why you do that. He says, don't, push away those excuses. Ki kadosh ani Hashem. I am God, I am holy, I gave you the power inside of you. I gave you the neshama inside of you. I give the neshama to not only to make you go, but also to strive for better things. As Yeshaya says, Ki ruach milefanai ya'atov v'neshamot ani asiti. According to Baal HaKedah, the tzivui ki kadosh ani is a person can claim against that he cannot be kadosh because he's small. He's not that sophisticated. He's not that important, and so on and so forth. And at that point, you have to remember that this is just excuses. This is not the case. You have to act as a holy man. You have to understand that maybe your body is here for a short period of time, but your actions would linger here way longer after you're gone. And because of that, you got to be responsible. And how they're going to linger? They're going to linger in the fact that your child is going to act a certain way, or your grandchild is going to act a certain way, and so on and so forth. I still look at my grandparents. I did not see my great-grandparents. I still look at my grandparents, and I still measure my actions according to my grandparents and according to my parents' actions. Understanding that if they did it, I can do it. I try not to make excuses for my faults. I try to take responsibility. I don't push them away. And that we need to understand that. And we were commanded to be Am Kadosh, and we were not holy. We became holy, and that is because of what we do, because of the Torah, because of the mitzvot. And right now we're in a very bad state of mind when we don't do that. Therefore, our job is to start first of all with ourselves. We need to enhance our attitude. We need to enhance the way we operate and encouraging other people. How are we going to encourage other people? By trying to find what's good in them and not what's bad in them. That's the only place, that's the only time we're going to have a chance to make it another day. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.